Welcome to Creating Connection. I'm your host of the podcast and the YouTube video, however you're watching this. It's Friday, it's the end of the week, and I wanted to talk to you about a few things that have really inspired me, that have basically come from the work that I've done with my clients this week. And it's work that's been ongoing. A lot of the work is little steps, repeated, revisited, done in different ways, reinforced, understood. They're little steps, and the little steps have something very much in common. So no matter what you do, no matter what change you want to implement, whether it's creating a new habit, whether it's getting really, really serious about increasing income and deepening connection and becoming more confident, eating better, sleeping better, doing a course, becoming a stronger leader, regardless of what you do and where you want to take your life, how much you want to deepen your life. Because when I talk about change and we talk about improving and getting things better, it's not about growth per se. It's not about getting bigger and wealthier and having more friends and being more popular. It's about an inner growth in terms of deepening happiness and deepening connection and making your life more meaningful and feeling stronger and a stronger belonging and a part of everything. It's just having a more fulfilling, worthwhile feeling life, being more of who you are. So when we talk about growth, that's what we're talking about. But regardless of where you want to go from, what you want to do, it all takes steps: discipline, commitment, effort. Right? None of it's effortless. You don't just wave the wand and, da-da, da-da, here's my wand, and it happens. But there is a key. There is a skill that's really the master key of unlocking all of this that you want to do. And this key is what I work on with so many clients in sessions, whether that be children, parents, mental health professionals. We all need the same key. Whether you have ADHD or autism or challenges that other people cannot begin to imagine, this key helps us all. It helps everyone. And it's awareness. It's the power of attention, the power of really noticing things, internal, external. Research has shown us that the act of observing something changes it. You can see that in your own life. So, for example, if you have a behaviour that's happening in one of your children and you've gone, I wish other people could see it. But when your child is with another person, the behaviour tends to change. It tends to be different depending on who is observing, all right, and the context. I've been in classrooms to particularly observe a particular behaviour which doesn't occur. And largely because I'm in the classroom wanting to observe it, it doesn't happen. The person doesn't know they're being observed. They just, very, very rarely does the behaviour come up. The Hawthorne effect, which refers to studies that were done whereby people in a work environment changed and increased their productivity even though nothing else changed. Their conditions didn't change, their wages didn't change. The only difference was they were being observed. And this was one of the studies that led to the emphasis in scientific discovery on control groups and double-blind groups. So you might be observing two lots of people, but you're also changing something in one aspect of an environment. So both are being observed. So we're like, okay, we've ticked that box. They're both going to be changed because they're being observed. And we're going to do something different to these people. So observation matters. Noticing something makes a difference. And it's this sort of scientific basis that has contributed to things like, The Secret, that was really big a while ago, things like intention, doing something with intention, and in lots of other ways. Now, this isn't a podcast about intention at all, but it's just an example of how attention and the power of attention and noticing has widespread ripple effects on all aspects of society and living. But so let's come back. Let's come back to why I'm talking about attention and why it's important. So an example is, you probably, like most of us, engage in a lot of things that take you away from the present moment for various reasons. A lot of people do it because they're in a situation that feels uncomfortable. So you're in a social group and you don't feel that comfortable, or you're waiting for someone, so you're scrolling through your phone. Or you're waiting in a line and you feel bored, so you're scrolling through your phone. You're doing something that takes you away from a present feeling, from the current situation. Other distraction techniques away from difficult, feelings and thoughts include binge watching, gambling, eating, drinking, reading, gaming. Almost any sort of behaviour that you can do when it involves taking your attention away from something, it's potentially isolating and life shrinking. If you're only doing it for a little bit and it's a situation that you just want to avoid for a short period of time, then you come back to it. Hey, we all do that, and that's okay. It's when you do it a lot and it's taking you away from either an unpleasant feeling time and time again, so therefore you're denying it, you're denying the feeling, you're not working through it, you're isolating yourself from the feeling, you're blocking yourself from certain people and situations, and by blocking yourself, you're shrinking your life. So you're not dealing with anything that's uncomfortable, and you're just in a situation where more and more things are becoming uncomfortable because you've shrunk things so much, and you're lost. If you can't do this distraction thing, then you don't know what to do. No, you just can't cope. It's stressful. It might, create a flight and fight response. It might shut down. There might be a numbness, an emotional numbness, because you're avoiding all these difficult thoughts and feelings and experiences. So the opposite of paying attention is not paying attention. And that can have a really high cost if done consistently. Right? So there's a big benefit paying attention. However, it's not, and this is where it gets tricky, because you read a lot of things, and mindfulness is put out there as the thing to do, and it is for most people in most situations. Mindfulness is fantastic. However, it's not something you just dive into without understanding what can happen if it's not done with in a right way. So what do I mean by that? So it's a bit of a hint when I've looked at what happens when we don't pay attention. When we pay attention and things are difficult and we don't know what to do and we don't have the skills to manage those difficult thoughts and feelings, that's painful. That's hard. If you have, if something is causing you a problem in your life and you don't know what to do with it, and you have decided to go into, well, I'm not going to pay any attention anymore, I'm withdrawing my awareness of this situation, and you're doing something distracting that's giving you little hits of dopamine, these little bits of feel good. You've won a game, you've eaten something that tastes yummy, you've had a drink that numbs things out. You're getting rewarded from paying inattention. You're getting rewarded for distraction. So if we come back to this key I'm talking about, which is awareness, you might be sitting there going, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't bring awareness into what's going on in my life. I've got you, and I do not expect you to do that from this video or this podcast. No way. I really recommend that you get someone who knows what they're doing, who's experienced, and who's a guide in doing this. I'll give you an example from my life. One of the things I did when I was younger was I wrote down my dreams. And the more I wrote them down, the more attention I paid to them, the more vivid they became. I was in my dreams. I got to a point, I was controlling my dreams. I had an experience of astral traveling. In my dream, I was under a gum tree by the river, and I was there. I could smell the trees. I could feel the wind. I could hear the sounds of the river, and it scared me. It scared the crap out of me. And so what did I do? I stopped recording my dreams. I withdrew my attention from something because it was taking me on a path where I had no guide. At that time in my life, I had no guide. So I withdrew and I shut down that aspect of one part of my being. Now, I've also done that throughout the years with difficult feelings and managing different feelings, or squashing thoughts that weren't serving me or that I didn't think would serve me, thoughts I didn't like. I took my attention away from those thoughts. So when we get into mindful work, there's a dark area to explore that you need assistance with. All right, so we're not diving into there. We're taking this back to connection and awareness and intention and learning something, giving you a practical skill that you can do in a really positive way. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to choose something that is lovely to pay attention to. All right, so this can be anything, and this is a practice of savoring, which is just picking one thing and really like using that microscope to examine it and be in that moment fully with it. And it could be the first bite of a chocolate or an apple. Now, we know that the first bite of something gives you the most satisfaction. So you want to dive into that satisfaction in as much depth as you possibly can. Now, what does this smell like? What's it taste like? What's it look like? What's it feel like? How long can I use my senses to soak this in? Or a piece of music, or a leaf, or a vase, or a painting you have, or an article of clothing you love to wear. It can be as little, and I encourage you to look for something really little. So whatever it is, this is your time to bring all your senses to whatever you've chosen to savor. And if you've gone, what is she talking about? I don't know what to pick. A good hint is the next time you want to take a photo of something and you're going, oh, that looks good. I'm going to photo and I'm going to share that on Facebook or Instagram. Stop. Before you take the photo, savor what you're taking the photo of. It might be your child or your mum or the beach or a birthday cake. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It's introducing that pause and going, I notice that. I see that. I'm here in this moment and I'm looking at that. I'm looking at, so for example, I have a glass of water and I love this glass. It just fits in my hand. This mightn't sound like a big thing, but I have so much trouble finding a drinking glass I enjoy drinking water from. So this has a wide rim so it doesn't touch my face when I'm drinking. You know those glasses that have really narrow openings, and you're banging your nose as you're trying to get the water down. I don't know who designed those things. So I see beauty in this. It's functional beauty, and it's also soothing because it's round and it's smooth. It's life-giving. My water's in it. I can cup it in my hands. I feel good when I drink from this glass. So I want to, by honing into it, this I feel good when I see it, I'm enhancing that. So, we talked about a microscope, but then it's like you're blowing it up and it's like, yeah, this feels good. And I notice this about it, and this is good about it, and the light's reflecting off it, and it's magnifying the beauty of it. So that's what I really encourage you to do. Start or go back to your practice of mindfulness and start with something you love. Practice the savouring. Use your impulse to take a photo of something as a reminder to stop and savour it. And we build on this skill. And this skill of noticing, it's going to take you to deeper connection. It's going to take you to noticing how you feel when someone says something, what you think when something happens, how you react bodily to an experience, which gives you all the information you need about what to do next. Of how to go from overwhelm to chaos, how to improve your brain health, how to make those habits stick, what really matters to you. We're going to open up all those things. And I've written about some of those things, and there's some podcasts about some of those things. But as I said, there was a lot this week in session where I've gone, look at the benefit that happens from all that noticing and awareness practice. This is important. This matters. This makes a difference. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Please let me know if you've got value from this, because I savor feedback. I savor knowing that someone's listened and that's gone, wow, all right, I get that. This makes sense now. I'm going to try that. Or I have a question about that. Or I wonder what would happen if, or anything. If you're listening or watching and it triggers something in you and pings, let me know. Let me know. I'd love to know. And if you want to work with me, I'd love to work with you, because you know what we're going to do? We're going to work on these things together. All right, until next time, take great care of yourself, and I will catch you then.